Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints 208. The weekly get together, we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, host Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David. The coronavirus is causing all sorts of hell across the convention sphere right now. We have an idea of what the specs of the next Xbox Series X will be.
Ugh.
And that's about it. Two smaller stories also following up, but these first two are going to be very, very big ones. We're going to get into pretty big details on everything that's going on because the second one's a Mate's blog post, and the first one just affects every company out there, it seems, right now. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at Twitch TV/GamePoints or later over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to join in the conversation. Just try to keep it germane to the topics we have at hand. David?
Yes.
The first topic I was going to bring up was this coronavirus thing, but something kind of started happening about an hour ago that's somewhat gaming adjacent because it deals with Twitch TV specifically, which is where we broadcast live on. So shit like this actually affects us to some degree. Earlier this evening, I should say, about an hour or so, the Democratic primary debate just wrapped up. And I know we're getting into politics on this fucking show like we always seem to do sometimes. But I swear, I promise you, this has nothing to do with the Democratic primary on its own.
This is a Twitch story.
This is a Twitch story. A lot of your more political channels on YouTube have also been making Twitch accounts as well, so they can live stream on Twitch, use Twitch's already ingrained audience to kind of do what a YouTube super chat live stream would be. But it's just Twitch is just better at it. Apparently, the people who are hosting the debate, I believe it's CBS, has aggressively been going after the people who are streaming tonight's debate on Twitch and has sent out multiple DMCAs against many, many major streamers. This information is coming from Roth Breslau. He is a big esports commentator. He also goes on Twitter by the handle @Slasher. This is from him. Several major Twitch channels covering the debate who have had live audio on the stream, including Chapo Trap House and David Pakman, have been suspended. Both of those are major podcast hosts or groups when it comes to politics, specifically left-leaning politics, so they would have a vested interest in covering the Democratic primaries. Going back to Rod here. Twitch has also suspended @Trihex, who was not playing the CBS audio or video on the stream, which should be allowed and is what someone else has been doing every debate as the top political channels on Twitch. The organization that has DMCA'd several Twitch channels tonight on behalf of CBS is Praxis Political Legal, an organization with next to no information about it online and very well may not even be official representation of CBS.
Fun.
So there's a lot to kind of unpack on this out the gate. One, we can talk about if this is related to CBS at all. They're actually going out and DMCAing political debates that are meant to go out to as many people as possible so they can make an informed decision. Two, you have people getting suspended who weren't even using video or audio from the stream.
What did they have that was possibly pulled?
I don't know. This is all like happening
like with the video. If you don't have the video or the audio, like what's getting
all of this information has happened over the past hour, so take it all like it could be developing as we go on. And then the third weird wrinkle of this is that this is coming from that Praxis Political Legal team, which might not even represent CBS to be. So it could just be a troll farm doing this.
It's possible, but less likely. I am going to once again cite this as being one of those things that's caused by old people being in charge of laws and not knowing how the internet works.
There is definitely a tech gap between our current legal standing and what is actually out there right now.
Just full stop, because that's the only... Now, you can make the argument, because this is a CBS, whatever, affiliate network, something bullshit, what have you. Name a single other thing that could air on your regular television that you can stream on Twitch and not get copyright claimed.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
There's no answer to that.
No.
If you stream a TV show, you're gone. If you stream sports, you're gone. If you stream anything,
unless it's an event that's already like encouraging it. For example, like the VGAs, they're not really streamed on TV anymore, but there are events that will be streamed sometimes on TV that they're like, no, we want you to stream. Well, actually, hold on. Let me think about this now.
That's not a major network event.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The VGAs are on a cable channel.
They're not even on that anymore. They're just 100% streaming now. So I started to back that off. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't. If ESPN is showing the Dota 2 stream, you can show the Dota 2 stream, but you cannot live stream ESPN.
I think where the hubbub on this one particularly is coming from.
The way everything lies right now, that's kind of the way it works. But I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's the way everything is at the moment. So even with the argument that they are streaming something that is news, something that is publicly facing and accessible and meant for mass consumption, the law isn't on the side of, intelligent people.
Right. I think where all the hubbub specifically this time around is coming from is that these are all channels that have been doing this for a while now, and then suddenly they're getting whacked.
Probably just figured out what the fuck Twitch is.
Maybe, but these are also like huge streamers, like David Pakman, Chapo Trap House. I know they might not mean anything to you. I don't know if you know who these guys are, and a lot of people probably don't. But they are huge political names when it comes to like podcasting.
Biggest political streamer you could possibly think of means nothing to the average NBC viewer.
You're probably right. And it's CBS.
And like as asinine, as stupid, and as bullshitty as I think this is, and the fact that they should be able to do this, it's literally it's something that frustrates me to no end, because it's that great big tech law divide that we've just ranted on and on and on about for years at this point. That just, it fucking is what it is.
And I'm kind of curious to see what happens with this, if these people are going to get their channels back or not. But I just wanted to mention this real quick, because it is literally just happening over the past hour or so. And while it's not gaming 100% gaming news, it is gaming adjacent, and shit like this does directly affect us because it deals with what we stream on Twitch TV. So if there's lawsuits that come from this,
affect all of us.
If there's lawsuits that stem from this that leads to laws getting passed, that could potentially affect this show that no one watches.
What are you talking about? It's super popular.
David,
I feel the love.
Let's go ahead and roll into the first topic of the day, and that is the fact that the coronavirus is just really fucking up a lot of timetables and conventions going on. Now, articles from this are going to be from GameStop, Upload VR, GameIndustry.biz, and there's also going to be a bunch of personal tweets and blogs. All links will be provided down below in the description if you want to look them up yourselves. But let's go ahead and start off with all these PAX East cancellations that are currently happening. Now, PAX East is this weekend, if I recall.
Yeah, it's happening very, very soon.
Right, and it's like the 27th.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. A bunch of teams are already pulling out on that. You have Square Enix coming out with a press release stating that, quote, as the community may be aware, the COVID-19 is spreading within the East Asia region. Taking into consideration the current situation within the region, sadly, Square Enix has decided to cancel the PAX East attendance of staff who would be traveling from the Japan offices. This is a difficult decision that was based on desire to prevent any potential spread of the virus and to prioritize the health and safety of our team and our fans. Important to note, Square Enix is not completely pulling out. It is just those who would be traveling from Japan to the United States. And you're going to notice a theme from a lot of this is that a lot of these are Japanese-focused companies.
Mm-hmm. People that would have to fly through Asian nations because
it's... not only that, because you have flights that go from Japan to America.
I think I should say it's international flights.
It's not even just international flights, I don't think. I think it's even a little bit more personal than that, because Japan itself is getting hit kind of hard from this, whereas America isn't. We have like a handful of cases in America, but Japan, with its proximity to China, is a lot more likely to develop cases for this. So I think that the Japanese developers are being significantly more cautious when it comes to this. Other cancellations, Sony has made the decision to cancel its participation at PAX East in Boston this year due to the increasing concerns related to COVID-19. We felt this was the safest option as the situation is changing daily. We're disappointed to cancel our participation in this event, but health and safety of our global workers are our highest concern. This one's big because I believe this is going to be the first time the public at large is going to be able to play The Last of Us 2.
Oh, yeah.
Capcom guests from Japan no longer going. As an update to Monster Hunter Fiesta in Boston 2020, which I believe is running concurrently to PAX. Unfortunately, our guests from the Monster Hunter development team will no longer be able to attend the event. We will no longer have an autograph session, but are still planning to share Iceborne news. Our sincere apologies for this inconvenience. And PUBG developer PUBG Corp has announced it's canceling all of its plans for PAX East due to the continued spread of the virus. Their statement is as follows. PUBG Corp planned to hold a happy hour event for fans at a local bar in Boston on Friday, but it's now being postponed to a later date. We will be rescheduling this plan with an upcoming event once the coronavirus is under control and travel returns to normal, PUBG Corp said. David, before we get into the other things that are being caused by Havoc, what do you think about all of these cancellations? Right, justified, an overreaction, overblown?
I think it's smart.
Okay.
I think of all the places that you shouldn't travel to during at this point, maybe not quite global, I don't want to say epidemic, maybe pandemic or pandemic panic.
I actually think pandemic is worse than epidemic.
Oh, is it? Fuck,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't work for the CDC, but unfortunately, lots of people don't work for the CDC, like actively right now in the United States. So maybe coming to the United States, where we are like at the lowest possible preparedness level for this kind of scenario in the history of like the fucking nation as a developed country, is a good idea. But what do I know?
This all feels a little knee-jerky. I'm not saying not be prepared, but
it's a really bad flu. And while it is, yes, a really bad flu and most people will be fine and it'll bounce back, it is a long-lasting flu that does not always show symptoms and is very, very, very fucking contagious. So
let's say this, David.
It is what it is. I mean,
if you had tickets and a hotel room to PAX East, would you still go?
Yeah, and I'd wear a mask.
Okay. Like, I was just planning, when I go to these events, I plan on going to GDC, which we'll have some GDC news coming up. I was thinking of getting, like, a bunch of those, like, surgical gloves just to handle controllers. Because, like, last time I went to PAX West, I didn't touch a single controller because I just didn't want to get sick. And I came out of that relatively fine. This year, I'm just going to get, like, a thing of black gloves or those blue sanitation gloves and just play games with them. Not even because of coronavirus stuff, but because of just
people
general.
At these events are gross.
Yeah, I just didn't want to deal with that. I will say this, however, David, when it comes to coronavirus specifically, apparently wearing the mask doesn't help. So.
Oh, yeah, the person that has it needs to wear the mask.
No, it does not help, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from what I understand. I am not an expert. I am not giving you advice to avoid the plague. Let me just say that at the gate. But apparently those masks
the easiest way to avoid the plague is to avoid the plague. And stay home.
Well, even then, you're screwed, I think. If an outbreak happens, there ain't too much you can do about it. I'm not telling you to... I personally lean on that this feels a little bit knee-jerky to a situation that is serious but not necessarily critical. It's... I don't want to sound glib. I don't want to say it's like, oh, it's nothing. This is SARS and bird flu all over again, blah, blah, blah. This does feel a little bit more serious than those two were, but I will say that outright just canceling everything feels a little.
It's their prerogative.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like pissed off and blaming them or anything like that. I'm not saying, God damn it, blah 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 blah. How dare they keep us from playing Last of Us 2? I'm not doing that. It just feels a little knee jerky, but. It's their prerogative, like you said. Captain Ice Cold, good to see you in chat. He says, prevention beats a cure, just my 2 cents. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it.
It's hard to fault them.
It is. It just feels a little panicky.
Why not, dude? Now's the time.
But why we'll talk
if nobody panics, how will we know it's a big deal?
All that said, I actually am stocking up, like, I don't want to sound all preppery on you, but I think it's smart enough to get like a 5-gallon tub of water and some beans and rice or something in case. Not because your town is going to get like overrun, but because if major cities get shut down, it's going to fuck with your supply. I'm not talking get a gun and start preparing. I'm saying, hey, if you got to stay home for a week.
Too late. right?
If you gotta stay home for a week because stores don't have anything, it's best to have some of this on hand. And that's just general, like an earthquake could hit you. It's good just to have that stuff. So if you've been thinking about making your disaster prepared kit, just make it now. Don't go on Amazon, however, because all that shit's sold out right now. David, PAX PAX East isn't the only thing that's having problems. GDC is getting affected by it a little bit too. Not as big as PAX East, but GDC is a little bit farther away. Though I would not be surprised if this list of cancellation grows. Starting off with EA. EA has sent through a statement to GameStop confirming that they will not officially be participating in GDC and are restricting non-essential travel due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. The statement is as follows. Having closely followed the global situation of coronavirus and with the recent escalation of cases in new regions, we have decided to take the additional steps to protect the well-being of our employees, including the restriction of all non-essential travel. As a result, we are also canceling our official participation at GDC and limited attendance to other events. We continue to monitor the situation and will adjust guidelines to employees as we feel is appropriate. End quote. Seeing EA actually, it's kind of fucked up that I saw EA, and this is the thought that popped into my head. I also now get a little bit why businesses might be a little bit more knee-jerk at this too, because let's say a company goes, no, you got to travel to this country to do it, and they get sick. That company's going to get sued.
For sure.
So they're doing this not just as a way to, not necessarily even because they think they might catch coronavirus, but they just don't want to get sued. Let's be real here. Other places pulling out of GDC, Sony and Facebook are pulling out. PlayStation and Facebook's gaming Oculus, PlayStation and Facebook Gaming / Oculus will not be attending this year's Game Developers Conference due to concerns about COVID-19. Facebook says it's still planning to make announcements at GDC around its Oculus business, but will now do that via digital formats with video, online Q&As, and more, aka a direct. The firm says it's removing its booth footprint and is advising all employees to refrain from traveling to the show. A statement sent to GamesIndustry.biz by Sony Interactive read following. We have made the difficult decision to cancel our participation in Game Developers Conference due to the increasing concerns related to the coronavirus. We felt this is the best option as the situation related to the virus and global travel restrictions are changing daily. We're disappointed to cancel our participation, but the health and safety of our global workforce is our highest concern. We look forward to participating in GDC in the future. Kojima Productions announced via Twitter that they're not going due to increasing concerns related to coronavirus, and multiple Chinese-based exhibitors have also either had to cancel their presence at GDC or send North American staff to run their boost. GDC itself said last week that this impacted around 10 or so of the 550 companies participating at the show. So a very small number of people are actually pulling out. I'm significantly more sympathetic to the idea of the Chinese-based exhibitor stopping it, because that is where this is running rampant at. But that is it's just screwing with trade shows up and down in America so far. We'll see. And I know that a European mobile game trade show I think was just flat out canceled. I need to find that article again. I didn't include it in here. I could be wrong on that though. So yeah, the virus has hit the point where it's actively affecting things outside of China.
That's true. And it's actually gotten to the point that we talk about it on this show because it's affected things related to video games.
Hey there, Master Bob. How you doing? We are talking about the coronavirus's impact on the video game industry in general. Captain Ice Cold in chat asks, here's a question. What's the point of these industry shows? Nintendo's and others make do without it. That, I think, is one of that question, Captain Ice Cold, is one of the reasons why I think E3 is dying, is that more and more of these developers and publishers and manufacturers are realizing, why spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a booth at GDC in San Francisco, one of the most expensive cities on the planet, or to go to LA to do E3 and just pay outrageous fees to set up something, when we can spend a quarter of that, do a 45-minute video, slap it up on YouTube, and control the message completely because it's a slick edited
and not have issues with controllers being disconnected or the lights going out or a bunch of people have to switch into a different room and we wait 30 minutes not having a conference. We're looking at you,
Sony, who will not be at E3 again this year, from what I understand too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Ice Cold. I mean, I think that is a question more and more, not just people, but developers are actually asking. And the event organizers are trying to counter that by making them more fan-centric. For example, PAX is not going away, but PAX was never really a huge place for gaming news. It was always more of a fan event.
PAX was never like an industry thing. It started as a fan thing.
Yeah, and it's that. So you're starting to see them, like E3, for example, keep on trying to invite more fans to it than developers. They're trying to pivot to being PAX.
Mm-hmm.
David?
Yes.
The conventions aren't the only thing that's getting hammered by this. You also have your vast majority of manufacturing for consoles and hardware taking place in China because it's so cheap to do.
True that.
We already know that the next generation of consoles seems to be affected by shortages, not only due to just what specs they're running, what hardware is in them, but because the manufacturing base of China is slowing down. Now we're also having issues with Valve's Index, the VR headset. This article here from Upload VR, Valve Index production impacted, fewer units coming soon. With Half-Life Alyx coming March 23rd, we are working hard to meet demand for the Valve Index and want to reassure everyone that the Index systems will be available for purchase prior to the game's launch. However, the global coronavirus health crisis has impacted our production schedules, so we will have far fewer units for sale during the coming months compared to the volumes we originally planned, aka expect shortages on a device that was already going to kind of be manufactured in the low numbers to begin with because it's a VR headset and very expensive one at that.
Yep. Which is funny because I was looking at the Index and when they announced Half-Life Alyx, and I was like, man, I can't afford this, but I want one, and that would be cool. And then they had like some kind of promotion package where you could like pre-order it in the game and whatever, and they were all super sold out.
Yeah. And it's going to be like that for a while, it sounds like.
Yeah, they've been sold out, so this is just more of that.
Right. So this is not just canceling this virus is not just canceling conventions, but it's going to directly start affecting the manufacture of hardware. Now, we're still a bit away from the systems be launching, but at this point, they're already starting to make the actual shells that those go in. Like, the systems are in development. The specs are in place. And for them to make enough for a global rollout, they have to start manufacturing them now. So, my question to you, David, and to everyone watching this at home, do you think that this is going to delay the launch of those systems into 2021, or are Microsoft and Sony just going to pull like a Nintendo, release what they got, but rather than creating an artificial scarcity, it's going to be a natural scarcity? Or option 3, they'll be fine, they'll have enough.
Was it the PS2 or the PS3 that shipped with 500,000 units and immediately got sold out and no one could buy it anywhere? Because Sony's done this before.
I don't remember.
One of those two consoles had a actual production limit of 500,000 units for the initial run, and that is all we got, and they were impossible to get for a minute.
That sounds like a PlayStation 3, because I remember
I really doubt that either system will be delayed. Like, I heavily doubt that. They will launch on time whenever they were supposed to, and shortages are just going to be a thing.
Right. No, I think I'm in that same boat, and I want to say it was the PlayStation 3 that was shortaged, because that was back when I was working in a game store, and I remember the game store I was at got 4 systems in on day of launch. So that sounds about right. I think it was the PlayStation 3. Chat is also saying they think it was the original PlayStation 3 as well, so thank you very much for that. So yeah, coronavirus. Regardless if you think it is nothing to worry about, or if you think it's the end times, it is definitely having an effect on the gaming industry, as well as many, many others. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. David, I'm going to hand this next topic off to you because you tend to be the more tech-minded one of the two of us here. So This stuff might actually mean more to you. Like, I can wrap my head around some of it, but you just have that hardware knowledge that I don't.
Luckily for everybody, it's at this stage in the game all technobabble, and none of it fucking matters.
So this giant blog post by Phil Spencer detailing the Xbox
No,
Series X
it's
specs
cool. There's cool stuff. People are excited.
okay.
It's just kind of funny. So Xbox Series X specs is a blog that was released by Phil Spencer. Xbox Series X, still the stupidest fucking named
Yeah, I hate
video
it.
game system ever
I
since
can't
the
stand it. I
new
absolutely hate it.
Nintendo 3DS XL.
Also stupid.
That probably
For
one of
for
the
the poor
stupidest.
for the poor retail son of a bitch that has to deal with all this, because the parent comes in and goes, "I
Can I
want
get
the
the
new
new-
DS." Well, which one do you want?
Yeah, and there was like 4 different ones.
Yeah.
Anyway, Xbox Series X, which is not a re-release of the Xbox One, but is actually a new system. But it's not called the Xbox Series X. It's just called the Xbox. And the Series X is one specific version of the next Xbox. Fucking idiots. Is our most powerful console ever, according to Phil Spencer, powered by our custom design processor, leveraging AMD's latest Zen 2 and RDNA 2 architectures, which
Okay,
means nothing
I
to
was about
most
to ask.
people.
What do you, can you give me like a 2-sentence idea of what those are?
It's the Windows 10 equivalent of CPUs.
Okay.
It's the new one. Congratulations, these are the new ones.
Okay, that's all it is. It's just the new one. Okay.
It is current. It uses new design processes and different chip counts and different processing and clock speeds and blah blah blah, but it's the new one.
Okay.
Within 3 years or 2 years, this shit will be on your phone. Delivering 4 times the processing power of an Xbox One and enabling developers to leverage 12 teraflops of GPU graphics processing unit performance, twice that of the One X, and more than 8 times the original Xbox One. 12 teraflops of GPU is actually a pretty fucking big number. That is beastly even by most gaming PC standards. Like
Okay.
that's doing pretty good. It'll probably be a pretty sweet machine. The biggest thing for you to keep in mind though is as a PC user, the day this thing comes out for you, it's obsolete.
Yes.
So
I mean, that's just how it is in the PC gaming world to begin with. You buy your nice
And-
shiny 2080, it's immediately obsolete.
Yes. And I'm sure we'll see the same thing we normally see with console releases, where when the Xbox and the next PlayStation come out, they will have that quick jump of, damn, games on these things look fucking amazing. And then within 90 days, PC will catch up. But there's
90
always something
days
to be
seems
said.
a little quick, but after a year, it's going to look very impressive
I mean,
for that first year.
3 to 6 months, who knows?
And I
But
want to
there is
clarify
something to be said for the advantage of a machine that's dedicated to only running video games, and it doesn't have to do anything.
I do want to clarify that we're both PC assholes.
Yes.
So consoles, the only time we ever play on a console is when it's an exclusive that isn't showing up on PC.
That's not true. I play fighting games on PlayStation 4
Fair enough.
because I like playing fighting games. And
But
I like PlayStations sometimes.
But for a lot of people who don't want to deal with the console, the PC bullshit, this is good.
Anyway, moving on to the blog post. Our patent inform variable rate shading empowers developers to more efficiently utilize the full power of the Xbox Series X rather than sending GPU cycles uniformly to every single pixel. They can prioritize individual. Basically,
you don't even like reading 3 sentences for this blog. I can hear
the problem is that, like I said, again, this is going to be. I'm trying not to bore you guys too much because it's just kind of tech speak for the sake of tech speak. That's referring to a specific rendering process they can use with the new system that speeds it up from the way they did it before. So there are new features and new mechanics that developers can get into with this new system that make it so games run a little bit better than they used to. It's cool. It's just, And Bob, sorry, I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm trying to get through this blog post. You can expect more dynamic and realistic environments powered by the hardware-accelerated DirectX ray tracing, a first for console gaming. A big deal when NVIDIA GPUs had that ray tracing, right? Everybody's got
I
a 2070
remember that
and a
ray
2080
tracing
now,
that
right?
no one cared about.
Everybody's using ray tracing, right? Still no. There's like
I think the only game that has
use.
actively used it is the most recent Battlefield, and that's it.
Modern Warfare uses ray tracing.
Does it
actually.
really? Huh.
Yeah. This means true-to-life lighting, accurate reflections, and realistic acoustics in real time as you explore the game world. Ray tracing is a really cool technology. It is just very underutilized at the moment. With our next generation SSD, nearly every aspect of playing games is improved. It's an SSD. They didn't have one before. One of the single biggest upgrades you could make in your console life was to put in an SSD, because then things loaded faster, because it's a hard drive that works better than old school platter drives. The new quick resume feature lets you continue multiple games from a suspended state almost instantly. This is really flippin' cool to me. One thing you've had before with the older systems is resume, like you turn your console back on, you keep playing the game right where you left off. This allows you to suspend multiple games. So this is kind of like how you can have like your Hulu going and your Netflix going and whatever else, and then when you turn it back on, you could resume a show right where you left off, right? But with your video games, like I can't do that on my PC. I can't turn, besides loading a save, I can't just, click the button and all of a sudden get everything back.
Now, I get that some people are like, well, I can do that already on PlayStation and Xbox and even the Wii right now, but we're not, or the Switch rather. We're not talking about just one game, though. We're talking about multiple games running simultaneously, from what this is claiming.
Mm-hmm.
And that I do think is kind of cool.
All right, we're optimizing latency in the player-to-console pipeline, starting with our Xbox wireless controller, which leverages our high-bandwidth proprietary wireless communication protocol when connected to the console. With dynamic latency input, a new feature which synchronizes input immediately with what is displayed, controls are even more precise and responsive. There's a new wireless chip in the controller that's faster than the old wireless chip in the old controller. We've partnered with the HDMI forum and TV manufacturers.
That does fall into that category of shit that we're not going to notice any difference of.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like a millisecond faster.
Yeah. We've partnered with the HDMI forum and TV manufacturers to enable the best gaming experience through features such as auto low latency mode, ALLM, and variable refresh rate. Allum allows Xbox One and Xbox Series X to automatically set the connected display to its lowest latency mode, and VRR synchronizes the display's refresh rate to the game's frame rate, maintaining smooth visuals without tearing. Basically, the system has a built-in VSync, which is cool, so it'll automatically make the frame rate of the video game match your television, so that it's not trying to display more frames than your TV is capable of producing. And it will also change it to the lowest latency display mode, which is one of the cooler things I've heard of, because if you've played a lot of like racing games or fighting games on your like home television, locally multiplayer, if the display isn't actually responding quick enough, like you don't have your TV in game mode, for example, you'll notice some actual input lag. It sounds like it will automatically switch your TV to the correct display mode, which that's cool. Support for up to 120 frames per second, keeping in mind, most televisions won't give a shit because they're still 60 hertz. So this is a non-issue unless you're plugging this thing into a PC monitor.
Mine is not. However, even if you have a 4K TV, it is important to keep track of the fact that if your hertz is still 60, you're not going to get this benefit either. I know a lot of people like when...
especially if they just said that it will synchronize the display's refresh rate to the game's frame rate, meaning, if you've got a 60 hertz refresh rate, then your game's frame rate can go at 60, and that's about it.
Right. I know a lot of people who aren't too familiar with tech, but they just kind of want, like you hear of a term 4K getting tossed everywhere. So, like, I want a 4K TV, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. So they cheap out and get a very low-costing TV. So congratulations, you have a 4K resolution and a 60 FPS cap on your TV. It's going to be fine for most things, especially if you're not gaming. But if you're gaming, that's going to be a huge problem as more and more, as the newer generation embraces this higher frame rate.
Yep.
And you're going to notice it.
I mean, maybe you won't. Our commitment to compatibility means existing Xbox One games, including backward-compatible Xbox 360 and original Xbox games, look and play better than ever before. Your favorite games, including titles in the Xbox Game Pass, benefit from steadier frame rates, faster load times, and improved resolution and visual fidelity.
This is good.
If it's already backwards compatible with Xbox One, it will be here, and it sounds like it has a little bit of a built-in upscaler, which, man, that is new school, right? When have we... Oh, wait, that's right. The PS2 did that with PS1 games.
Yeah, but I could care less about the upscaling part. I'm just happy that they're still they're still keeping to their commitment of backwards compatibility all the way back to the original Xbox One.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the coolest thing.
I love it. I love that they're doing that.
We're making commitment to use smart delivery on all of our exclusive Xbox Game Studio titles, including Halo Infinite, ensuring you only have to purchase a title once in order to play the best available version for whichever Xbox console they choose to play on. This, by the way, is fucking amazing.
Yes.
This technology is available for all developers and publishers, and they can choose to use it for titles that will be released on Xbox One first and come to the Series X later. CD Projekt Red is already committed to this for Cyberpunk 2077, which means that if you buy that game on your Xbox One, by the time you upgrade to a Series X later in the year, you don't have to rebuy it. Your copy will automatically upgrade to the Series X version, and you can keep playing from there. No word on whether or not like saves and all that other stuff will transfer, although with how these hardwares are built so similar, I'm actually kind of would be surprised if you weren't able to transfer saves, but there's not even been a rumor of that, so take that with a grain of salt.
One thing to keep in mind with this, David, is the important part right here. And they can choose to use it, referring to developers and publishers. Meaning,
Yes.
you have the Ubisoft, EA, Activision have to give the okay to allow this to be a thing. Ubisoft could still dig their heels in the ground and go, no. If you want to play the new Assassin's Creed and you bought it for Xbox One, you have to buy it again for the Series X.
0% chance that any Rockstar game will ever use this.
Correct. They will make you buy another one.
But that's also something that we know right now is on the developer's side. So if this does happen, gamers rise up.
Hey, it worked with crossplay.
I'm just saying.
I'll
just
point
you guys
to the
know,
crossplay example.
Get your
that
pitchforks
they can
ready
actually
now, because somebody's going to screw this up, and
Everyone
we're not
get your
going to let
brooms.
it slide. Finally, Xbox Game Pass will continue to have our first-party games like Halo Infinite included at their launch.
that
Game
Xbox
Pass,
Game Pass is too fucking good.
it is really good. It's a great deal for video games if you have almost infinite time, a small amount of money per month, and want to play a very large list of very good video games. But if you don't have that much time, then honestly, it's not worth it.
It's $10 a month, isn't it?
Yeah, and I had it, and then I played one video game on it, and then I still had it a month later, and I'm like, what am I even doing?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I am not going to play Halo Infinite multiplayer. I'm just not. But I am going to play it single player. I want to play that campaign. So I'll, instead of spending $60 on Halo Infinite, I'll spend $10 and cancel it after I'm done.
Yeah, it's the Netflix of video games, but you can cancel it a lot and keep it going.
That Games Pass, by the way, David, is one of the reasons why I think Microsoft is going to be super aggressive on the price point for this thing. We have no idea how much it's going to cost when it comes out. It is rumored that the PlayStation 5 will be between $450 and $500 to make, so you can expect its price point probably to be $499. I would not be surprised.
Unless they pull a PS3 and lose $75 per unit sold.
I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft, because they're trying to do this Game Pass thing here so hard, sells this console at launch and, at a loss and goes $399 with it.
Oh yeah, why not?
Because they're trying that they will eat the cost on that because they're trying to get you on Games Pass, and I believe that Microsoft as a company is far more profitable than Sony as a company right now. I'm not 100% on that. I don't know who's bigger, but I believe Microsoft is significantly bigger because of their, Windows. I'm not positive on that. That's just, I remember seeing that years ago, and I never bothered to double check that.
Well, there you go.
So they can afford to take a hit.
And that's our boy Phil Spencer.
Yeah, that's our deepest dive into
star.
That's our deepest dive into what the Xbox Series X will have to offer when it eventually comes out. Supposedly this year still, assuming coronavirus doesn't murder everyone.
Which is funny because at some point we'll also get a Series B or Y.
I want to know what these
S
other series are, actually.
Right? What's the point?
I'm still expecting, like you alluded to, a Series S or a Series A, which is just like...
A streaming box?
Yeah, here's your $200 streaming box.
Yep.
$200 comes with Game Pass. Here you go.
Yep.
I am fully expecting something like that.
Me too.
And I think that would be a potential game changer for the console wars, because it would get so many consoles in people's hands, assuming they have the bandwidth for it.
Mm-hmm.
David?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to know this stuff till later this year, but something else is also coming out later this year that I was confident would not come out, and I'm still technically right if you ask me. This article comes via Tech Radar. The headline, Baldur's Gate 3 will launch a Steam Early Access title in 2020.
Hell yeah.
The 20-year wait is nearly over. Baldur's Gate 3 is set to launch on Steam as Early Access title in 2020. That's according to Hasbro representative, the gatekeepers of Dungeons & Dragons brand under which Baldur's Gate franchise lives, at the Toy Fair of 2020. Toy Fair is essentially a toy-focused convention, which has not had any cancellations, it seems. And they kind of let slip that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to Early Access. Now,
Of all the places.
What was that?
Of all the places to let it slip.
There was rumors going around that Baldur's Gate 3 would release in 2020, and I was very hardcore of like, that's bullshit. No way in hell. And since it's entering Early Access, I still maintain that because I fucking hate Early Access for games like this.
That's okay. DOS 2 was in Early Access, and I played it, and it was great.
How long was DOS 2 in Early Access?
I played it before it actually had a proper tutorial.
How long was that game in Early
Prison was
Access?
the tutorial when I played it originally.
How long was DOS 2 in Early Access?
6 months?
Okay, that's a quick turnaround. Was it 6 months or was it a year?
Maybe a year? It's hard to say. It happens.
If someone happens to know that answer, let us know down below. I remember not touching that game
normally
until it came out
I
of
hate
Early Access.
Early Access. I liked it because they responded to a lot of feedback. They added a lot of features. They made it so you could keep the cat alive. Like there was a lot of cool stuff that came from the Early Access of DOS 2 that made it kind of the amazing game that it is and as it stands today. And playing it for a bit and then coming back later when it was vastly different and they added the entire intro and there was just all this cool new stuff to see and do in the beginning of the game is interesting. A lot of games are early access and they kind of just stay that way until they slap a 1.0 on it, but these guys do like to iterate.
If they ever even leave early access. Now, Larian does not have that problem. I want to say out the gate, Larian, when they say this is early access, will have a game that isn't
in early access, and the game that released will be vastly different. Well, maybe not vastly, but we'll have substantial differences.
It'll actually have a final release as opposed to here is just we've ran out of development funds, so we'll call this new beta 1.0.
Exactly. So you can always wait for the master collection or whatever they want to call it, which is probably what you want to do, honestly. And I am talking to you specifically. So.
I had a feeling. Because
I don't think that BG3 in early access will scratch the itch that you've had for so long.
No,
it will be fine for me, who's a guy that's honestly young enough that I didn't really care about Baldur's Gate when it was a thing. I didn't even have a PC.
Yeah, you were 11 when it came out or some shit like that, weren't you?
Yeah, so it didn't matter to me. I was playing other video games. Right. I was playing PlayStation 1. And so it's just cool.
Larian is one of the exceptions to this rule, but so often I just see early access as a crutch.
Oh yeah.
And it's I have such a negative reaction. There's only 2 studios that have been able to do early access well, in my opinion, that I have played. I'm sure there's others out there that I haven't got around to. And Larian's one of them, and Red Hook is the other with Darkest Dungeon. But for the most part, it's like when someone says mobile game to me.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that there's probably good mobile games out there, some that I might even like. But I hear mobile game, and I have the same response that I do to early access of, ugh.
Did you know what game's in early access? Fucking Star Citizen.
I don't even consider that early access. That game's just vaporware. I know they keep updating.
Dude, maybe not. Did you hear? Now I forgot to put it in the notes, but the long-standing lawsuit between them and Crytek actually resolved last week.
In Clan Appearing Games' favor, if I recall.
No, they settled out of court.
Oh, did they settle off court? Okay.
Yes.
Good.
So the actual lawsuit's been absolved.
I am so disconnected.
All stemming from the fact that they dropped off CryEngine and they started using the Amazon engine and blah, blah, blah. None of it matters. Short story is I brought this up literally just so I could say, you Star Citizen kids, it's still not coming out. This lawsuit doesn't change anything.
No, and I was so
your funds have been thoroughly mismanaged.
But at this point, I just don't care. At this point, by the time Squadron 42 launches, all the actors in it will be dead.
Also, it will look like trash.
Yeah. That, apparently that is one of the things that they keep having to deal with is that like every 2 years they have to go back through and touch everything up because Chris Roberts demands everything looking as next gen as possible.
Yeah,
And that just slows everything down.
It's impossible to continue to do that.
Anyways, yeah. Baldur's
Sorry, I
Gate
had to get my
3
shots in. It's been a minute.
later this year in early access, it seems. Now that could get delayed, of course. This was all on a timeline, but this is from Hasbro itself, so we'll see how that shakes out.
Who are in no way actually involved in the making of the video game.
Nope, they just own the license.
Yeah.
The final story of the day, David, deals with video games in Hollywood, and we know how good video game to Hollywood movies are.
Well, bro, you can't say that anymore because Sega does what Nintendo don't, and Sonic is breaking the mold.
For once, they actually did something better than Nintendo and made a successful movie.
Man, watch Mario Brothers, the original film, and then go watch Sonic in theaters, and you will actually weep.
That Sonic game for all the shit that I want to get, that Sonic movie for all the shit that I want to get it, I have not seen it, but I hear it's actually a decent kids movie.
Yeah, dude.
This, however, has nothing to do with Sonic the Hedgehog. This is via Variety. Eli Roth to direct Borderlands movie for Lionsgate.
I could not be less interested in a project.
I could care less, too, about it. Eli Roth would direct a movie based on the video game Borderlands for Lionsgate, a project that's been in the works for 5 years. This shit's been in development for 5 years, and I'm not surprised at that, though, because just look at the fucking Uncharted movie.
Oh, yeah.
That thing's gone through, 7 directors now, so 5 years for a video game movie seems fucking
The guy that
passe.
was on tap to play the lead is now on tap to play the old man.
Yeah. That's just the funniest thing I could think of. Back to the article. The studio said production begin later this year. Lionsgate announced in 2015 that it had attached producers Avi and Ari Arad to Borderlands through Arad Productions, and said Thursday that Eric Feig is also producing via his Picture Start banner. Craig Mazin, who won an Emmy for writing Chernobyl, has written the latest screenplay of the draft. By the way, Chernobyl's an amazing miniseries. I recommend you all watch it. The film's executive producers are Randy Pitchford, executive producer of the Borderlands video game franchise and founder of Gearbox Studio, and Strauss Zelnick, chairman and CEO of Take-Two Interactive.
I'm sure they're going to be great at playing EPs on a film.
I'm sure they will. Randy Pitchford's Gearbox has been kind of branching away from development into publishing for a while now, too.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like Borderlands, they don't publish Borderlands, but not just games they make in the publishing, but they're doing they're trying to make Gearbox publishing a thing, and this seems to be the next step in that maneuver, is to go, hey, we're just going to essentially produce this film as well. Eli Roth's directing credits, for those who don't know, include Death Wish, House with the Clock in Its Walls, Hostel, Knock Knock, Cabin Fever, and The Green Inferno. Captain Ice Cold in chat reminds us of the weird water sports video that was lost on a flash drive. As funny as that was, I do have to say apparently it was designed to be for researches into magic tricks, not personal pleasure. Quoting from Randy, I lost USB drive at Medieval Times, Pitchford. And if we can't trust what a magician says, who can we trust? If you can't trust
the guy that saves his favorite camgirl videos to a USB and then takes it with him to dinner,
a USB full of company secrets.
Yeah, dude. Well, where else are you gonna put it? It's important. He'll remember that. Wait, he won't.
If you can't trust a corporate video game CEO, developer / publisher, who in his spare time learns the art of illusion and misdirection to convince people that they're seeing what's not actually there, who can you trust, David?
I don't know. However, I will say that with Eli Roth behind this movie I don't think is going to be the movie you're expecting. People will definitely die.
Well, it's Borderlands. It's going to be hard R. It has to be.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, and there's a part of me that has hope that it's just like a full-on, just fucking grindhouse level, let's go get ridiculous.
And that would be perfect for Borderlands.
Yes.
Eli Roth directing Borderlands is actually a good pairing, in my opinion.
It's just been so long, and most video game movies are crap. But who knows, man? We're on an uptick for the first time ever. We're on an uptick.
Yeah, I just don't care. That's it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
my time with Borderlands peaked when the second one came out. The third one came out, and I played and went, okay. I just, it's a franchise
Now,
I
are
no
you
longer
talking about the actual third one, or are you talking about
I'm talking
Borderlands
about
3?
Borderlands 3 that came out not all that long ago.
No, because I was gonna say pre-sequel
Yeah,
is
no.
the third one.
I know. David,
Yes,
this Borderlands movie isn't going to come out for another 5 years. Let's be real here.
for sure, 100%.
Garen goddamn T.
We'll see the absolutely god awful Monster Hunter movie before we see Borderlands.
Fuck, I forgot they're making that. That's a Paul Anderson joint, Paul W.S. Anderson joint, right?
Oh yeah, bro. Mia Jovovich.
God
Tony
damn.
Ya.
It's going to be a long time before we see a video game movie that's worth a damn. In the meantime,
unless you're at the theaters right now,
what video games can we actually what real video games can keep us entertained until all these travesties come out?
Oh, let's talk about video games. Now, the fun part that I've not mentioned at all since we changed the date of the show from Mondays to Tuesdays is that you can play all this shit right now. You don't have to wait until
Not all of it,
or 9 p.m. Or
not
yeah,
all
some
of it.
stuff comes out on Friday, but the majority of it, fuck you. Anyway, video games. Hay Fever comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Now, is it hay fever or like hay fever, like you're calling a fever?
It's Hay Fever, one word.
Okay.
It is a side-scrolling 2D platformer adventure game. It's whatever you want to make from that. It's watching it. I didn't see anything that struck out as this makes this game interesting, so I didn't put it in my notes. It's just
all right.
It's a decent-looking 2D platformer. Maybe you want to play it. Rune Factory 4 comes out on Switch. This is the fourth of the long-running Rune Factory JRPG series, which has farming, dungeon exploring, and marriage. People like the Rune Factory games.
Isn't this
They've
kind
been
of
out
like
for
a fantasy Harvest Moon?
Yeah, basically.
It's Harvest Moon with like elves and dungeons and shit, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I actually wanted to jump into Wasteland Remastered. Comes out for Xbox One and PC. Now, you're a huge Wasteland fan,
Wasteland 2. I played the original Wasteland when it first came out, back when you actually had to like fucking use DOSBox and shit.
Yeah, this is that.
And it wasn't called DOSBox at the time. It was just called DOS. Loved Wasteland. I look forward to playing this again.
Yep. Gunbear Super Strikers comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Vita. Gotta shout out the Vita games. This is actually pretty interesting. This is a tactical RPG soccer game. Dude, this is Mega Man Soccer.
Mega Man Soccer was fun. I remember that being good.
Yeah, this looks like Mega Man Soccer, but it's out now, and it's not based on Mega Man. So I'm less interested in it, but, that's cool. Space Channel 5 VR, kind of funky news flash, comes out for PSVR this week. If I owned a PSVR, I would already be playing this.
I forgot this was coming. I might have to pick this up.
I love Space Channel 5. As stupid and as wacky and as weird as it is, I don't care. I like rhythm games. I liked my Dreamcast. This is a throwback for me. This is cool. Mega Man Zero and ZX Legacy Collection comes out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. I also really, really want this. But like the other collections, it's coming out at $30, which, while a great deal for the amazing games that are included in this list, I'm just a sucker and I like buying Switch games when they're on sale. So I'll probably wait for it to be $20 because I'm an ass.
Well,
but
like you said, they're amazing games, but they're also old games. They're games that you've likely played before.
And that's kind of the thing. But Mega Man Zero is something that not a ton of people actually played because they were all like advanced games.
Yeah, they were on the Game Boy Advance. I think one of them might have actually made it to the... No, I don't think one ever made it to the DS. Now
but anyway, Zero's rad. These games are cool, so you should play them if you like the extension of the Metroidvania genes into Mega Man, which is kind of what the Zero games did. 2 Point Hospital comes out on Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. This has been on the PC for quite a while. This is the medical sim management game, but it's the good one. It's the funny one, because we talked about another one pretty recently that's just very humdrum and very methodical and not very interesting. 2 Point Hospital is the silly, fun one. So there you go.
It's the Americanized version of Trauma Center almost.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. I take that back. No, it's not.
Okay.
I completely I withdraw my claim.
Cool. Infliction comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This is a gory, violent indie horror game. that is described as an interactive nightmare, a journey into dark secrets of a fractured home.
All right,
It's been
hold on.
on
I gotta
PC
look
for a
this shit
minute.
up now
I
too.
actually thought that you had already played it. No
No,
joke.
I haven't heard of it. I gotta look this shit up now.
I'm pretty sure I had you look this up last time I talked about it when it came out on PC. But anyway, take a look.
Okay.
Sayonara Wild Hearts comes out on Xbox One this week. It's on everything else already, so if you were waiting on Xbox, there you go. This is a casual adventure game about riding motorcycles, skateboarding, dance battling, shooting lasers. It's Sayonara Wild Hearts is actually a kind of interesting game. So
It's artistically, it's very beautiful. I love the way this game looks.
Broken Lines hits Switch and PC. This is a story-driven tactical RPG set in an alternate history of World War II. And since it's an alternate history of World War II, I'm assuming you are already playing this, Steven.
Not only have I already played it, but we beat it last night on stream.
There you go.
That was full disclosure. PR gave me a code of this early. We played it Monday, essentially all day for both shows. We finished it up around midnight last night or so. It's a lot like Frozen Synapse in that you have your squad, you program them on where to go, and when they start moving, the enemy also moves. It plays in 8 seconds, then pauses again, and you have to readjust your plan accordingly. So yes, it was an entertaining game for the price point that it is at. If I would have spent the 25, I believe it's $25. If I would have bought it on my own and played through it, I would not have been upset.
Cool. One Finger Death Punch 2 comes out on Xbox One. This is on, I think, everything else already. It's weird how games take longer to get on Xbox than PlayStation, especially when it's already on PC. And I'm wondering if that's going to be fixed by the time the Series X comes out.
I think so. I think a lot of this was because Microsoft, for the most part, ceded the console war to Sony this generation. Yeah, so rather than why pay to get these extra games on your system faster that you've already kind of not abandoned, but abandoned.
Yeah. Anyway, it is One Finger Death Punch. Is kind of an interesting game. It's like a stick figure fighter, but you kind of like press a button and you just slowly kill everything that comes at you. It's a kind of fun, simple game, but some people like it. House Flipper comes out on PS4 and Xbox One. This is a sim builder single player game about like any other management game. Take a whole humdrum job and apply a video game to it. So you play as a house flipper. You knock down walls. You put up new cabinets. You be a contractor in a video game. Vasilis comes out on PS4 and Vita. This is an indie adventure RPG, which is hand-drawn, looks pretty good, sounds pretty good. And I feel like I've talked about it before because when I was looking it up, it felt very familiar.
Oh, I was about to say, this sounds very familiar.
Yeah. But this game actually looks pretty cool. So whatever. If you got a Vita, you should buy it because love your Vita. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 14 hits PS4 and PC. Now, I swear I just talked about this.
There's a reason for it. When it did come out on Steam like a month or two ago without any English support.
Oh, okay.
I believe this is the official release of English support. I didn't look into it, but I need to. I'll eventually get into playing this, by the way.
Like I talked about last time, ROTK is a series that I like. It's kind of like a Dynasty Warriors game. It's set in the same damn universe, but based more heavily on the historical fiction.
It's more on the spreadsheet side and logistics side than it is just, I'm a dude and I'm going to murder a couple thousand people because I can.
Yep. But it's interesting. I think they're fun. They're cool games. Stab, Stab, Stab comes out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This is a casual indie action game. Man, I got to stop writing indie on my descriptions because every single video game that's not from one of the major threes lists indie as one of their like game descriptors these days.
Indie is a term that has no meaning anymore.
It just really doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. Stab, 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 though, is a physics-based couch multiplayer game where you stab up to 7 friends, so 8 players total. Kind of silly. You play as like this weird spider thing with a kind of narwhal horn on your head, and you try and stab people. Kingdom Under Fire: The Crusaders comes out on PC. Action strategy RPG. This is an older, like heavy metal fantasy action strategy game that's back in HD. So
it has a lot of that Muso feel to it. Since we're speaking about Dynasty Wars, I remember loving this game on Xbox. By the way,
this is not a new video game. This is a re-release of an old video game. Bloodroots comes out on PS4, Switch, and PC. Action, violent, beat-em-up game. In Bloodroots, the world is your weapon. Improvise and adapt to an ever-changing ballet of ultra-violence.
It's
a
got
beat 'em up. It's got style. It's got pizzazz. It's got I
the
don't know.
nanny.
Yeah, it's got some stuff going. It looks fun. One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is an action fighting anime video game from the good Bamco folks that make all the other anime fighters, like the Naruto games and the Dragon Ball games. And now we've got a One Punch Man game.
You're a One Punch guy, aren't you?
I do like the One Punch Man. Well, I like the first season because it was animated really well, and the idea of a show that could take an entire anime arc that I would never be bothered to watch and condense it into a single episode, I thought was really funny. And then the second season came out, and it was exactly like every other anime, so I immediately bounced off of it and stopped watching this franchise entirely. But talking about this video game, it has a flippin' hilarious mechanic because, as you can probably guess from a show called One Punch Man, the title character is ridiculously overpowered. Like, people make the joke about how like strong Goku got back in the Dragon Ball days, and like whatever, insert your anime protagonist here and how much stronger he is than everybody. One Punch Man takes that joke to infinity, where he literally kills anything in one punch. Like, it just doesn't matter. He's so outrageously that much stronger than the entire universe that his character is in that it's like a joke to the universe itself. And they make that joke in this video game because you can choose the actual One Punch Man to be on your like 3v3 fighting team. You can't choose him first though because he's always late. And the way it plays out mechanically is you're playing a multiplayer fighter. And so, you know, your opponent's got 3 guys and you've got 2 guys, and in the corner of the screen is literally your One Punch Man guy running. Like a little video is playing of just him running.
If you're fighting against if you're fighting against the person who picks the 2 people, you're kind of in a race to kill the 2 people before he gets there.
Yes. And there's a legitimate timer. Like, he is on the way, and like landing moves and getting supers will make him run a little faster. And so if you just don't beat the other guy in time, then this dude shows up and you instantly die.
That's kind of hilarious, actually. I love that concept.
And I don't know that I actually want to play this game at all, but that is the funniest like mechanic that's ever been added to a fighting game. That's amazing.
Don't worry, we know who has it already. You'll play it.
I'm sure I will. Bucket Night comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. 2D platformer. Again, this is another 2D platformer. There's just so many of these. There's so many indie platformers now. I love it. It's a great thing. Platformers should never go away. There's literally one for everybody. And if you want to play as one where you're playing as a knight who still has to pay taxes, loans, and alimony, and he needs the Holy Grail, like needs it, then you should play Bucket Night. And finally, last but not least, Spartan Fist comes out on Switch, PS4. This is it's a roguelike. So remember how we switched there was roguelikes and roguelites?
Yes.
And lights, you keep some stuff, but likes or die, start all over.
Yeah.
This is a light.
Okay.
So you keep some stuff. Fight your way to fame, fortune, and glory in this first-person puncher roguelite as you work to retrieve the fabled Spartan Fist. So think a 3D rendered Punch-Out with roguelite mechanics.
Okay.
And there you go. That's about all I got.
David?
Yes.
I believe that is the end of new releases and thus the end of the show. This has been GamePoints episode 208, and if you want to join us live next time, you can do so every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. If you can't make the show live, however, you can do so and watch it over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. If you like what you saw here, God knows why, and you want to support the show, you know what streamers want. Likes, bits, subscriptions, follows with notifications turns on. If you're sitting on that Amazon Prime account and you haven't used that free sub yet, I appreciate it here. If you don't use it here, give it a good home somewhere. If you want to follow the show, you can do so on Twitter at GamePointsPC. You can follow David there at PalShife_Satori. And you can follow myself at CapitalistPig21. Once again, thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints, and until next time, we're out of here.